charity. This has all the atmosphere and fun of a Pro-Am golf event.
Good racing, very good racing.
Getting the lead back here.
This is big, live on speed.
And around they go. Oh my goodness.
We have so many good late model stock drivers.
Somebody's getting ready to use somebody up here pretty soon.
He's getting fuel. It's Denny Hamlin. It's a Thursday night twin bill at Richmond International Raceway. The Denny Hamlin Foundation presents benefits from the Denny Hamlin Short Track Showdown. A very popular event, held the first few years at Southside Speedway and then moved up here to the big track to help accommodate live television. Glad to have you with us tonight on Speed. I'm Mike Joy with Phil Parsons. Marcus, you never know what happens when you leave the door open. Marcus Ambrose comes in. He's got a great story to tell about tonight's race, one of the young fellas in it, and it's all for a great cause. You can participate from home, so have a pencil and paper ready. We're going to tell you how in just a little bit. But first, Marcus, you've got a dog in this fight tonight.
I do. I actually raced this event back in 2010. It's just a great race to be part of. But I'm here tonight as a team owner. I've got a 15-year-old from Kentucky, Ben Rhodes, drove my 91 car tonight. We couldn't get the number 9, so 91's it. He did well, qualified 13th, and looking forward to coaching him around tonight. And where else can you go as a 15-year-old and get to match up against NASCAR Sprint Cup drivers? It's an awesome event, and proud to be part of it and fielding an entry.
Well, for the Cup guys, this is a play night. For the late model racers, Phil, that have a chance, a rare chance to race against them, is this the audition?
I think it is. This is, you know, as you mentioned, for Joey Logano and for Kyle Busch and Denny, all these guys, it's a night to have some fun. I mean, Jeff Burton wanted to have so much fun that he built his own car to come and run this event. But for the guys like Marcus's driver, Ben Rhodes, and all these other young drivers and local drivers, this is an opportunity to race against the very best in the world. And if you come in here like C.E. Falk did a couple years ago at Southside and beat these guys, people notice.
All right, let's get downstairs, down to the starting grid. Here's Bob Dillner.
Denny Hamlin, the defending winner of this event, but this event is more than just winning. It's about doing things for a great cause and a great night here for your foundation at Richmond.
Yeah, we're so proud. This is the 5th annual Denny Hamlin Short Track Showdown, and as you can see by the starting grid, we got a great mix up front of your local stars here in the Mid-Atlantic region, and you got some of the Cup guys up there. So I think how my car's running, I'm going to have a good view of the front, but I'm not sure I'll be up there. We're going to try everything we can, and we got 70 laps to get it done.
Denny Hamlin's got a long way to go and a short time to get there. He rolls off 19th tonight.
Marcus, give us a little idea on how different these cars are to drive here than a Cup car.
Well, they're a lot lighter and they have less horsepower, and the corner speed is very high in these cars, and there's very little braking going on with these machines, but they're going to burn their tyres up. This is a long race for a limited late model, and they're going to be really working these tyres hard.
All right, let's join Hermie Sadler.
Well, C.E. Falk is a former winner of this event over at Southside Speedway. I guess you'd like to taste victory lane here at the big track.
Yeah, I've been dreaming about it since I was about 5 years old, Hermie. Watched a lot of races from these grandstands, and just to compete here for the 2nd year in a row is pretty cool. And getting to start next to a 3-time champ over there, that's pretty awesome too. But we got great Carl's Racing Products Camry, and we're gonna put on a show for you fans here at home tonight.
And C.E. Falk, he's got a good qualifying run, Bob.
And Tony Stewart, best in class, best among the Cup guys, starting 4th here tonight. Your car rolling to the grid. You're just joking about how much fun this is, or not, or what?
It is a lot of. I can barely hear now, but no, it is fun. I mean, the only hard part is I'm driving for Lee McCall, and his history with Sterling Marlin. He demands excellence, so they brought an awesome race car here, and we got our buddies from JD Byrider on the car. We've been with them for 16 years now, so glad to have JD Byrider on tonight. And I actually qualified decent at Richmond for once, so I'm not going to know what to do actually watching the guy drop the green flag tonight.
Tony Stewart joking around. He said if he doesn't do well, he may get fired by Lee McCall.
Oh, I doubt it. C.E. Falk won the first practice. Tony Stewart was fastest in the second practice session. As they get ready to line up, 37 cars are here for this invitational, and the promoter said start them all.
Absolutely. I think great idea. And they're going to run 50 laps here, and then they're going to have around 50, and then they're going to have a halftime break. And the guys will be able to do anything they would do on a normal pit stop, with a maximum of changing 2 tires. You can move tires around different positions because these are bi-supply tires, and the size is very, very important. But you can't change 2 tires and do whatever else you might have done on a regular pit stop at about the halfway point.
Well, I like this format because you wouldn't want to give the Cup pit crews a huge advantage if you had, pit stops under greener caution.
That's what this form of racing is all about. It's allowing these junior drivers a chance to shine and put it all back in the driver's hands. You don't need a fancy pit crew or the fastest rattle gun. You just need a good handling car and a good team around you, and hopefully you can get it done on the night.
So 37 drivers, a mixture of Sprint Cup stars and local late model racers, are set to battle here on Richmond International Raceway's 3/4 mile for fame and glory, and all for a great cause, the Denny Hamlin Foundation. Ready to go racing? Let's go trackside for the command.
Race fans, it's time for those most famous words in motorsports. Please welcome Denny's cousin, Kevin Jones.
Drivers, start your engine!
Stewarts and Hamlins, Almirolas and Fittipalis and more. Oh my, we're going short track racing at Richmond. Engines are fired, ready to race. The Denny Hamlin Short Track Showdown brought to you by Toyota Care. Glad to have you with us on speed this evening. A thrilling K&N Pro Series East race won by Brett Moffitt, Chase Elliott, Corey LaJoie, and now Sprint Cup Series regulars square off against some of the best late model racers in the region. There's a look at the starting grid. Darrell Wallace just completed that event.
Starting right beside Tony Stewart. Tony said he can finally see the flagman drop the green flag. He said he never sees that in Richmond.
Brandon Butler, Greg Edwards up at the top of the grid. Jeff Burton, C.E. Falk, who won 2 years ago. Kyle Busch, Nate Monteith. A good mix of Cup drivers and late model racers. They're in the top 8 spots.
See, Joey Logano is going to start back in row number 5. Joey joined us for the K&N race up here in the booth. Did a nice job, and we'll start this race, have a little bit of fun from the 5th row.
Yep, Travis Braden with him, Clint King, Patty Rodenbeck. There's Ben Rhodes. They're in row 7. That's Marcus Ambrose's car next to Ronnie Bassett. Nick Smith. Pietro Fittipaldi is the world champion, Emerson's grandson.
Yeah, that's right. Starts back in row number 9. There's Denny and Sergio Pena back in row number 10. Strong row right there.
Yep, Chase Elliott just climbed out of his K&N car next to Garrett Campbell. Richard Boswell. Is that Dickie Boswell's
It is.
son?
Yeah, my buddy Dickie Boswell.
Yeah.
Talked to him earlier down in the garage area.
All right, Scott Turlington and, of course, Eddie Johnson up there at the top of that group. Almirola with Justin Johnson. Austin Peyton Sellers, former national champion of the Whelen All-American Series. Dylan Lupton, Woody Howard, Jeff Oakley, Ryan Robertson. David Polans, Curtis Markham, a longtime Busch Series driver, and most recently Cup Series spotter. Jason White out of the Truck Series, Matt Bowling. Let's check with Bob.
Well, Mike, Joey, we talk all about the youth of this sport, but in this race, take a look at the front row and the ages on the front row. Your pole sitter, Greg Edwards, he's 40 years old. He's been running these late model stock cars here in Southern Virginia for years. In fact, he's a championship contender at nearby Langley Speedway. And on the outside, a former Busch North Series competitor and late model stock car veteran, that's Brandon Butler. He is 39 years old. These guys would love to go to victory lane on a big stage under the big spotlights here of Richmond International. In fact, this is one of only 4 races Brandon will compete in this year.
Well, Bob, this race is all about charity for the Denny Hamlin Foundation, but every driver in this field wants to win this race. Let me tell you how this race has evolved. It used to be you would find a late model stock car racer that races on Friday and Saturday night, rent a car, go out here and have some fun. But not anymore. Look at Jeff Burton. First time ever in this race, he built a brand new car from the ground up, J. Hedgecock chassis. He did all the rest of the finished fab work in his own shop, brand new engine, spent a lot of time and money and testing. I asked him earlier today why. He said, why else to win? These guys are all about winning this race, charity or not. Mike?
Thanks, Hermie. And here's how you can help. The Denny Hamlin Foundation committed to raising awareness and funds for specific needs of children with cystic fibrosis. You can go to dennyhamlinfoundation.org or call the phone number at the bottom of your screen to pledge your help. 888, toll-free call, 844-2929.
There are operators standing by right now to take your call. My daughter is one of them.
Terrific.
Yeah.
Tonight's event will benefit the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation, St. Jude's Children's Hospital, the Children's Hospital of Richmond at VCU, Victory Junction Gang Camp, and the NASCAR Foundation. The Denny Hamlin Foundation has raised over $1 million since 2007.
Good looking race car there for Denny.
And a pretty quick one in practice as well. Getting ready for the green flag in the Denny Hamlin Foundation race. One lap to green in the Denny Hamlin Short Track Showdown. Here at Richmond, 36 starters at the ready. A fine mix of Cup drivers and late model regulars from throughout the region. You, Marcus Ambrose, a little nervous for your driver out there in that company?
I think he was nervous enough for himself, I've got to be honest with you. At 15, racing against Tony Stewart, Denny Hamlin, he's got his work cut out for him. Just watch out for the 31 and watch him in practice. He's got a super fast car. The 14 was great as well. And Denny Hamlin, I mean, he's been dominating these races for a long time. He didn't qualify as good as he should have.
So it's his race. He's giving everyone a handicap.
Getting him a start there. Fair enough.
He starts midfield, 19th. Edwards and Butler the front row, Wallace and Stewart row 2. Pace car is in, 100 laps, halftime break. Here we go for the first half. Green flag. Wallace to the bottom, 3 wide. He wastes not an instant to take the lead.
You don't think after his K&N race that he's ready to do some racing?
Trouble, a spin in turn 2, 1 car in the wall. Make that a 2 or 3. Oh, they all go scattering. Chase Elliott's part of that. I believe he's the number 9.
I believe that is Sergio Payne. Look at Denny.
Oh,
that's what when you get a poor starting position, you're liable to be in something like that. Tough break for Denny. Look at the water coming out of the radiator.
Yeah, that's
out
Richard
of the
Boswell. I think he's the 02 now. They made a number change there.
Maybe Travis Braden maybe be in the 01.
Yeah,
or is that the 02? That is Richard Boswell.
Yeah, that's going to be Boswell's car.
Yeah,
that's a 2. Chase Elliott with some damage on the right rear.
See if we can take a look back at what happened. You see they're already 3 wide.
Oh, see right there, the 10.
Yeah, the 10.
Made the first contact.
And the
Nick
58,
Smith.
yeah. And you see Denny right there getting involved. He already has the damage right in the middle of our screen.
Nick Smith got into Sergio Pena. There it is.
Chase Elliott, the 9, did a nice job to minimise the damage right here. He kept it off the fence, and he should be good to go here. Oh, maybe not.
Just a little minor
bit
damage,
there.
yeah. Maybe cosmetic, it looks like.
Well, all right. Let's see. There's the first contact right there.
Yeah.
There's the 10 and the 58. Hamlin right behind them. Hermie?
You can see a lot of damage to the left front of what I can see to Denny Hamlin's car. Now, not as much luck for Denny this year as last year. Those of you who saw this race or watched it may remember qualifying was rained out. They did it by points, and Denny was supposed to start up front. He decided to go to the back of the field, drove his way to the front for the victory, but this time track position really hurt Denny. But I can smell some fluid coming out of the radiator. They're going to have to address that. And the problem with these late model stock cars, not a lot of bracing, not anything really solid on the front of these cars to really bolt anything to try to get this car fixed. So they're going to make a couple pit stops and try to get Denny patched up as much as possible, try to keep him in this race.
Well, Hamlin had an incident on the very first lap of practice this afternoon.
See him spin out, then Jason White's going to come along and make some contact. He did considerable damage to front of Jason White's car. Just happened right. You see the 10 car and the 58 make a little contact right there. Pena gets turned around. Then he was nowhere to go. He was right behind the 10 car of Nick Smith.
Yeah, he missed it and then got run over by Garrett Campbell. We're under caution. We'll be right back. ready to go racing as Richard Boswell's car is pushed to the garage area. The initial contact from Nick Smith sent a bunch of cars spinning, and there are those involved. We're told that the format of this race has changed. Originally announced at 100 laps, the race length will be 75, and the break will come at lap 50. And here goes Wallace again. He's not going to have room on the bottom this time.
Yeah, Greg Edwards wasn't going to let him do it, but how about Tony Stewart making it 3 wide?
And Stewart comes out in third off turn 2. It's a power move.
Yeah, Tony wasted no time. But Darrell Wallace Jr. able to hold him off now for the second spot.
Wallace to second. Smoke does the crossover. Stewart inside Wallace, who should have the drive off the corner this time and cements second place. Marcus Benrhodes up for 13th.
Yeah, he's doing great. I'm going to have to go outside and coach him here in a little bit. But these guys are serious. I mean, Smoke going 3 wide on the second green flag lap. That's impressive.
Good battle. Jeff Burton, Brandon Butler. Jeff's in the 31. Brandon Butler in the 29.
5th place here. Boy, that upper groove's got the drive off. Burton's going to have to send it in to take the spot. And gains no ground.
And Nate Monteith in the 44. Right behind this side-by-side battle.
Along with the 01 of Travis Braden. 4 cars under a blanket. That's the kind of short track racing we like to see, Bob.
And I'll tell you what, Jeff Burton is having a heck of a time here at Richmond. This is what he grew up with, late model stock cars. But take a look at the screen to your left. That's Harrison Burton. That's his son, 11 years old. Now, I just spoke to Harrison down here on pit road, and in 3 weeks, at 11 years old, Harrison will test that very same car that Jeff, his dad, is running here tonight at Motor Mile Speedway. How about that? 11 years old in just a couple weeks.
Well, he's an accomplished quarter midget racer and has done quite well behind the wheel so far.
He has a national championship under his belt. He won a quarter midget national championship last year.
Front 6 single file. Here's the battle for 7th. On the inside, Travis Braden in the 01. On the outside is Nate Monteith, 44.
Love a racetrack when you can see these cars battle side by side, lap after lap.
And Tony Stewart inside of Darrell Wallace to take second spot behind Edwards in the 34. Greg Edwards out front, right where he started. Stewart now second.
Marcus, will it help Tony Stewart for Saturday night running this race? Is there anything he can learn?
Tony doesn't need any help. Isn't he current champion in the Sprint Cup Series? But these cars are a lot of fun, and they don't have a lot of motor. It's all about momentum and getting the car to roll in the middle well. And if you're an amateur racer or racing on a budget and trying to prove yourself, this is the place to be, man. You can run up against Tony Stewart, and if you've got enough courage and a good handling race car, you can mix it with him. And Tony's enjoying racing, and that's, I think, why he's winning a lot of races.
All right.
He's got a pep in his step, and he's off and away. There's my car, number 91.
Yep, Ben Rhodes.
He's moving forward just a little bit here, and
working hard on the outside of Rodenbeck.
And I was trying to get him to run the outside group to get ready for it, so I'm pleased to see he's up there already making that middle group work.
Made that pass too.
Yeah, if you can get to the outside of a car and really, take the air off the right-hand side of the guy you're trying to pass on the inside, you can normally make some pretty good passes around Richmond doing it like that.
Battling Ronnie Bassett there for 12th place, and he must not have heard you as he goes to the bottom and tries to do it the hard way.
You got to pass them where they ain't, right?
Yeah. He's doing great. Plenty of power under the hood there too. So it's good to see we've got our motor issues fixed, because he was running third at Rockingham a couple of weeks back and lost an engine. So this is tough racing, and he's learning, and that's what it's all about. At 15 years of age, you just got to get out there and mix it with him and learn from experience.
Ben Rhodes makes the pass, going to move up there to 12th spot. Good move.
Ronnie Bassett won the first 2 races of the UARA series this year, so that's a good competitor that he was able to get by.
He really is, and this is a hotbed of talent, and that's why I've chosen to support this category. They're big, heavy cars, and they've got the big springs, just like the stock cars do in the Big 3 series, and a great place to learn.
All right, Marcus, we're going to let you go put your other headset on and do a little coaching. Thanks for joining us up here, and have a great run this weekend.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Marcus Ambrose. 23 laps completed. The Denny Hamlin Short Track Showdown. Greg Edwards, pole sitter, has a mirror full of three-time Sprint Cup champ Tony Stewart.
Can you imagine how it feels to be Greg Edwards right now? And the guy behind you, oh yeah, he's a reigning Sprint Cup champion as well as a three-time champion.
You know, for a while it looked like Stewart was going to sneak under and grab the lead, but now, Phil, he's just kind of settled into that second spot.
Ooh, a little bit sideways that time for Edwards up off the corner. That car has some history. That car is the same car that Corey LaJoie won 3 times at Rockingham in the UARA series.
Wow. Greg Edwards out of Langley Speedway, 2-time track champion there. On a long career that spans more than a decade. Has he got a tire rub on the left front? Under braking.
We're definitely seeing some smoke there.
Well, not that time. Maybe it's hazed off there. I think we saw it a little more down in turns 1 and 2 over at the east end of the speedway.
Looks clean down the front straightaway there. There's a little bit of smoke right there. Looks like maybe the tire's rubbing up in the top of the fender possibly.
Battle for the lead heating up here. Lap traffic ahead. Hermie?
Well, we got 2 special guests here tonight. Mike from Impact Wrestling, Mickey James and Magnus Tag Team Champion. But first, Mickey, you're a Richmond native and you've been to Denny Hamlin's event several times.
Yeah,
you're becoming a pretty big race fan.
I am, thanks to you. Yeah, I will give it to you. But it's such a wonderful cause and it's great to be out here. I met Dr. Rubin, who heads up research at VCU earlier, and it's great to be able to support your community and such a great cause. And see the races, although I can't hear anything right now.
Great race so far. Magnus, this is your first ever NASCAR race, and who you pulling for out there?
Well, I got to run for Denny Hamlin. Yeah, it's my first time here. We've had a really great day, and Denny and all his foundation have been so hospitable to us. We had a great time meeting the fans and getting to come down here in the pit wall. I mean, this is exciting. This is really awesome stuff. And so, of course, I'm rooting for Denny. I'm Denny all the way.
Thank these guys for being here. All 4 great calls for the Denny Hamlin Foundation. Back to you, Mike.
Thanks, Hermie. Here's how you can help. Go to DennyHamlinFoundation.org or call the toll-free number at the bottom of the screen. And you can donate and help raise funds tonight for the Denny Hamlin Foundation, which primarily benefits individuals and families affected by cystic fibrosis.
I think right now Tony is worrying Greg to death here.
Well, you wouldn't know it watching the number 34 of Edwards that he's under pressure. Stewart's been able to kind of sneak to his left rear quarter panel, but no further. Here comes Darrell Wallace back for another try at the 29 of Brandon Butler, our outside pole sitter.
Yeah, as our leaders run side by side for the lead, Darrell Wallace gets that spot back. Tony's got the bottom now.
And eases into the corner with the lead. Stewart at turn 2 now, trying to take off.
That was Denny Hamlin back on the racetrack. Denny is being shown at least 1 lap down, I think a number of laps down, after making repairs after that early incident.
4th place now, Wallace and Butler. Jeff Burton alone in 3rd. Wallace on the outside in the 76, Butler in the 29.
I was talking to Brandon Butler's car owner down in the garage area. That's Jay Hedgecock. Jay builds a lot of these cars. Yeah. We mentioned earlier, I think Bob mentioned earlier, that Jeff Burton had a brand new car built by Jay Hedgecock. Jay's a good friend of mine. We go way, way back. He actually helped build my very first race car when he was working for Tex Powell.
Yeah, former driver and longtime car builder. Tony Stewart out in front with 42 laps to go in Richmond. .37 laps complete in Richmond. May 19th, the stars come out for the NASCAR Sprint All-Star Race. New format, and you'll see it all live right here on Speed. The all-or-nothing $1 million brawl, the greatest all-star event in sports, and only on Speed. We're under caution for the 2nd time tonight. Watch Nick Smith go up in smoke.
Nick was involved in that earlier incident right at the start of the race. But it looks like it's going to be terminal.
Tony Stewart is your race leader. Pit road is open. Few takers, of course. And don't forget, they will get a break at lap 50. We're right now at halfway. There's Nick Smith's car that's rolled to a stop in the garage area. Greg Edwards started on pole. He's running second. He and C.E. Falk are feuding after an incident in the season opener at Langley earlier this month. And there is, I like the back bumper Darrell Wallace's car, Bob, where it says, "Stay back 200 feet." Yeah, right.
I tell you what, Darrell Wallace Jr., he's one of those kids that we're going to hear his name about a lot in our future. In fact, he said on the Race Hub this week, he says, you know, they asked him about running with the Cup competitors, and he said, yeah, they're all right. I like them in my rearview mirror. But on the left-hand side from Cherryfield, Maine, the 4-time NASCAR Can-Am Pro Series East champion, Andy Santerre. He is coaching Darrell Wallace Jr. here, and I spoke to Andy just a minute ago, and he said we might have missed up on the setup on this race car just a little bit. We're going to have to make some changes at this lap 50 break, but don't count out the guy that we call Bubba Wallace in that 76 car, Hermie.
Well, Denny, not the ending you wanted to your foundation race. Last year, a storybook finish. Tell us what happened on the racetrack and what eventually put you out.
Well, we didn't qualify that good, and that put us kind of right in the middle of the hornet's nest. And, you know, really, I checked up to not get hit, and I ended up spinning, and someone came around, and it clipped the nose, got the tire, and whatever it is, the steering got all jacked up, and it wasn't worth me. You know, it was vibrating pretty bad. I don't want a wheel to fall off or blow out, and then the next thing you know, it's bad for everyone. So, shame it had to, you know, go that way, but still, it's just one of those things that happens in racing. Now, we'll see if those guys in the booth have an extra seat for me. I'd like to come up there and watch the rest of the race.
And they said, please come on up. Get up there as soon as possible. Right. Denny Hamlin's on the way to you guys.
All right. Thanks, Herbie. We'll welcome him for the second half of this event. 39 complete. And it's a smoke show. Tony Stewart out in front for charity. Things heat up when NASCAR Fast Friday on Speed revs up in Richmond. 7 hours of live coverage you can't see anywhere else. NASCAR Fast Friday gets rolling tomorrow, 11:30 a.m. Eastern, right here on Speed. There's an area here, you see the crowd on the front stretch, but there's an area that we jokingly last year called the Kevin Harvick Reserved Outdoor Suite, which was set up by one of the fellows who works for him who goes by the Twitter handle of Mother Function. He is doing a little sheet time this weekend. Want to wish him well and a speedy recovery. But you can see there's a whole bunch of assorted Dylans and otherwise that are really enjoying it out there. And an Ambrose.
Yeah, there's Marcus watching Ben Rhodes, who has now made his way up to the 8th spot, doing a nice job. Right behind Joey Logano. He's gotten by Kyle Busch.
Denny Hamlin wants to come join us, and Marcus wanted to get as far away from here as he could get.
He literally is as far away from the booth as he can be.
All right, 42 down, 33 to go, and there will be a break 8 laps from now for the drivers to be able to stop and make adjustments. Stewart's led 11 laps. Greg Edwards has led the rest of this one. 1 to go. We'll go back to green. Competition caution coming at lap 50.
Curtis Markham's going to get a free pass in the 4 car. Jeff Burton's in a great spot. We'll be restarting inside row number 2 in the 31 car.
So the Sears Sand and Gravel Ford on the outside of Tony Stewart's JD Byrider machine. That's a Chevrolet, of course. Jeff Burton in 3rd, Brandon Butler 4th, Darrell Wallace, Monteith in 6th, Logano from 10th up to 7th, Rhodes, King, and Kyle Busch the top 10. Then Braden and Falk, Bassett and Rodenbeck, Campbell and Fittipaldi. Going to be 6 laps to the competition caution as we go back to green, and Stewart sets sail.
Good. 4 wide going in turn number 1.
5 wide for a second. Wow. Boy, Wallace got kind of shuffled backwards on that one. Ending up 9th. Logano side by side for 6. Nope, drops into 7th and gives the spot up to Ambrose driver and Rhodes in the 91.
Ben Rhodes doing a nice job.
He is.
There's C.E. Falk in the 40 car and the 51 of Kyle Busch.
Clint King got up there and into the side of Wallace, roughing him up just a little bit. And now we're single file through about the top 10.
Clint Kling will be doing double duty. He will be going to Salem, Indiana to run the ARCA Racing Series event this weekend.
Side by side for 5th place. And it's Rhodes coming forward.
Marcus is doing a nice job coaching from over there in turn number 3, isn't he?
Sure is. Ben Rhodes got one of the quickest cars on the racetrack with that 91.
Nice pickup from his 13th place starting position.
He was the 2nd fastest car on track last lap. And fastest this lap. Jeff Burton now going to work on Edwards for 2nd place.
Greg pulls over, gives him some room. He knows we're very, very close to the break. It's going to be right around lap number 50, as we've completed 49 laps. 48 laps. We're on the 49th lap.
And Jeff Burton in that brand new late model sets sail for Stewart. Here's Rhodes. He is looking to the inside of Brandon Butler. And makes the pass for 4th.
Boy, a nice job by that young man. 15 years old, Marcus told us.
Unbelievable.
It's amazing how much talent has been assembled here in Richmond, Virginia tonight.
I like Marcus' advice for him for this year. Just grow up a little. You know, have some fun, grow up a little, then we'll see. Jason White in the 23, battling the 1 of Pietro Fittipaldi. And caution is out. This will be the competition yellow. And we go back to the last completed lap with Tony Stewart leading Jeff Burton by half a second. Edwards, Rhodes, and Butler, the top 5. Welcome back to the Denny Hamlin Short Track Showdown. Pit road is open. We're in the competition caution. And here's a little look at what's happened so far. Lap 1, going off into turn 1. Nick Smith gets into the 58 and turns him around. Denny Hamlin spun and missed it, but somebody caught him. Tony Stewart went for the lead and took it from Greg Edwards.
Nick Smith went up in smoke to bring out the caution flag.
And then we race clean and green until this 5-minute competition yellow. Tony Stewart taking the lead and Jeff Burton closing in when we got to the caution. Denny Hamlin, as promised, joins us up here in the booth. Welcome. Sorry it was a short night for you. My gosh.
Yeah, very short. You know, last year we did the same exact thing, actually. We spun on the backstretch on the first lap and figured out a way to come back and win, but unfortunately this year it just had too much damage. But I'm excited to see it from up here and see this battle of the Cup guys versus the local superstars here. But it's a great event. Most importantly, we're going to raise some money tonight. Yeah, that's what's awesome about it is the weather gave us a break today, and so we're very grateful for that. And, everyone from the Denny Hamlin Foundation helped put this event on. It's so great to see all the turnout here from the fans, and you look right there at the website, DennyHamlinFoundation.org. You can make a donation right there through that phone number, and for us, this is about giving back. We're out here having fun, but it's about giving back to these charities.
All right, we'll talk a little more about that in a bit. First down to Bob for pit stops.
Greg Edwards led this race early. He's running 3rd right now. He's a home track favorite at Langley Speedway. You've been running with Tony Stewart and Jeff Burton. What's that like, Greg?
Man, that's a blast. Those guys are they're really clean racers, and I got a little bit tight there. I saw Tony coming, and I didn't hold him back. I figured I could follow his line, and he started showing me something there at the end. He's making a higher entrance into 3 and slowing it down, getting off 2. So I tried to, just imitate what they're doing and try to follow them. Man, I'm just learning. I've been enjoying it. I mean, those guys are class acts, Jeff Burton and Tony Stewart. It's fun to race with them. They're really clean. Man, I can't wait to see if we can get this thing a little better and see if I can go up there and pass them back.
Track bar adjustment for Greg Edwards in the 30-14.
Well, thank you, Bob. Jeff Burton, you've driven your way up to 2nd. I think it's shaping up with a battle between you and Tony Stewart. Assess your car and what kind of changes are you guys making in this break?
We probably need to turn just a little bit better. Our rear grip on the exit is really good, so we're contemplating trying to free it up some. To beat Tony, we're going to have to turn a little better, so we got to go for it. What we got to lose?
That's Jeff Burton. He is going to try to make a few adjustments to try to track down Tony Stewart, Bob.
Tony Stewart, the class of the field so far, but Jeff Burton looking good as well. We're going to stick our mic inside the cockpit here. Tony, how are things shaping up, and you worried about Jeff Burton coming your way?
Yeah, I am. I mean, Jeff's pretty good in these things, so, I think he just kind of laid back there for a while and then started running hard. So, we got a pretty good J.D. Byrider Chevy here, so just try to keep running the pace here. I mean, it's only 25 laps this time, so it's half the distance, so we can run a little bit harder at the beginning, but you got to still make sure you keep the tires on it.
Tony Stewart loves short track racing. Hermie, it's like a dash for cash now for Stewart.
Well, it is a dash for cash, and the driver that needs to try to make his way back up to the front is Kyle Busch. Kyle, what's going on with your race car, and what kind of changes are you guys making?
Leaving it up to the crew chief, but, just real tight getting into the center and then a little loose leaving, not bad, but just doesn't seem to want to go down the straightaway very well. So ill handling in a straight line. But AMF Camry's fun to drive. These things are cool. They're fast around here at Richmond. So thank all of our friends at All Metal Fabricators.
That's Kyle Busch. He is outside the top 10 there, looking to make a run in the final 25 laps.
They call him Bubba Wallace, and right now he's running in the 8th spot. Andy Santerre and the boys making some changes on this car. How many changes they need to make to get you back up front?
We need to make quite a few changes. We were good at the beginning and then got tight in the center, just kept falling off. So we were trying to salvage what we had, and luckily we have a break to come here and make some changes. So guys are working hard. We should be back on the ground here soon and go back at it and go for the win. I'm definitely got to redeem myself from earlier.
Darrell Wallace Jr. looking for another victory here at Richmond.
Thanks, Bob. Denny, tell us about the difference between sliding around in these cars on bias tires in a late model compared to the cars we'll see Saturday night.
Oh, these cars just have so much more forgive in them with the bias ply tires. With low horsepower, aerodynamics is not as big of a factor here with these late model cars. So what you try to do is you set up your car just as free as you can possibly have it. Since you don't have a lot of horsepower, you've got to make sure you're in the gas more than the next guy. That's when we won a lot of races back in 2002 and 2003. We were just looser than everyone else. We were just able to stand it. But one guy I'm definitely looking at is Ben Rhodes in the 91. You look at his fast lap here, it's almost a half a second slower than those guys in front of him, but it looks like he's made his move towards the front. That means he's got a really good car in the long run.
That is Marcus Ambrose's car, and they're up to 4th place. Tony Stewart and Jeff Burton are the leaders at the break. 25 laps to go in Richmond. Saturday, the Ultimate NASCAR Pre-Race Show is NASCAR Race Day, fueled by Sunoco. Denny Hamlin and DW celebrate the legacy of NASCAR's all-time winningest number. Plus, Greg Biffle and Kyle Busch live on the show. 5 Eastern right here on Speed. 52 laps in, 23 to go in the Denny Hamlin Short Track Showdown. Tony is the leader. He has swapped the lead with Greg Edwards. They're the only 2 leaders. 3 cautions for 16 laps. Denny, your foundation since 07 has raised over $1 million and is primarily dedicated to people who are suffering from cystic fibrosis. How did you lead your foundation in that direction? Why is that so important to you?
Well, actually, my cousin Kevin Jones, who's here today, is kind of the inspiration behind our Denny Hamlin Foundation. He has cystic fibrosis, has been living with it his entire life, and anybody who knows anything about cystic fibrosis knows that the age expectancy has gone up from like 18 years old to now he's in his mid-30s and living a healthy life. Of course, he's got a lot of antibiotics he's got to take every day, but they're so close to a cure. That's why we're out here, and people bought a ticket to this race today is because they're trying to chip in, trying to find a cure for it.
And once again, you can help by going to DennyHamlinFoundation.org or calling that number that keeps popping up at the bottom of your screen. Toll-free call 888-844-2929 and help us help folks with cystic fibrosis, and also a number of other great charities benefit tonight. St. Jude's Children's Hospital of Richmond at VCU, Victory Junction Gang Camp, and the NASCAR Foundation, all benefiting from tonight's race.
Something tells me business is about to pick up in this race. I don't know much, but
they were able to put 2 tires on. That was all they were going to be allowed to do, and then whatever else you could do on on a normal pit stop, although I saw cars on jack stands, so that makes me wonder, you know, how much of a normal pit stop they were.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. You know, I remember my buddy Jason White last year. He thought that you could take as many tires as you want, and then mysteriously his radio transmission didn't work when he was getting the black flag last year. So I don't know. I think Joey Logano last year, if I remember, he had a carburetor change. A couple guys in the booth thought he should put a bigger carburetor on. So these short track rules are a little different.
Those couple of guys would have been Kenny Wallace and Kenny Schrader. Yeah. Rules? We don't need any stinking rules. Well, we're going to race 23 more laps. Tony Stewart has been the leader. Jeff Burton ran him down. And don't count Greg Edwards out. He led the first laps of this race. Ben Rhodes coming on fast is fourth. Butler, Monteith, Logano, Wallace, King, and Campbell are the top 10. With C.E. Falk, who won 2 years ago, sitting in 11th. And Kyle Busch, 12th. A couple more caution laps here, and we'll be ready to go with the final 23 laps. Green flag, 23 laps to go. Tony Stewart takes off. Edwards inside, Burton outside.
We've seen the outside groove work pretty well here.
Yeah, Jeff gets that good run off the outside. Last week he was the sleeper in the test. I thought that he had the best car, so he was coming here at the. It looks like he's making a good run on Tony, so this could get interesting here.
A six-pack behind him, 3 wide, 2 groups in a row. Wow.
Joey Logano gets a spot, passes the 29 of Brandon Butler, pulls in behind the 91 of Ben Rhodes.
Logano up to 5th. Rhodes holds on to 4th as the rest of the field still sorting itself out. That 07 Clint King on the inside of the 51 Kyle Busch. Rowdy trying to break up into the top 10, and he did. He's up to 10th place.
Trying to pull to the inside of Nate Monteith in the 44 car. Darrell Wallace Jr. now pulls up beside of Brandon Butler.
Wallace, the 76, racing for 6th place.
Right behind them, the 12 car of Garrett Campbell. He started all the way back at 21st and has made his way up to 8th.
And he was involved in that collision that took Denny Hamlin out of the race. One car rim riding way up high, but stays off the wall. And somebody with a tire rub in the back straightaway. Looks like that's the one of Fittipaldi. Yeah. That yellow and black car appeared to have a left front tire rub.
Tell you, it looks like Burton's just kind of stalking the line of the 14. You know, he's not gaining, not losing. He's just putting himself right there in position.
That last lap, they ran within 1/100th of a second of each other.
Justin Johnson, 46. He's got company down on the inside. 3 wide, and it's Sergio Pena in that blue and black 58. With them, Rodenbeck in the 82.
Burton a little bit quicker.
Oh, around goes Fittipaldi, and he and Rodenbeck up and into the wall, turn 2. Yellow flag.
Burton was closing in on Tony. He ran a little bit quicker that last lap, about a 1/2 tenth.
4th yellow flag, counting the competition yellow. And it comes at lap 58. Pietro Fittipaldi on the outside. Comes down, and boy, there's just no room.
He was on the outside of a 3 wide situation. Looked like he didn't realize that they were side by side underneath him.
And it's such a bad spot to be in when you're 3 wide on the outside. There's really, there's marbles up there on that 3rd lane anyway, so you got a tough shot. You got a tough position. You either back off and give those 2 inside guys the room, or you stick it in there 3 wide and see what happens.
They're fighting for 18th. Way down on the inside, Woody Howard in the 30.
I think right now Pena does not realize he's down there. He thinks that the 82 of Rodenbeck is going to move down to the bottom of the racetrack and give him room. Couldn't know where to go.
You look. Does that remind you of Martinsville, possibly, for race for the win?
Gosh,
at the end, you had three cars for two lanes in the track. It just doesn't work.
How about that K&N Pro Series race earlier? Wow.
Unbelievable. Speed's presentation of the Denny Hamlin Short Track Showdown is brought to you by Toyota Care.
We want to thank Toyota for making it possible for you to see this race live on Speed and for us to help Denny Hamlin raise money for some very good causes. A 3-car pileup down in turns 1 and 2. Woody Howard, number 30 on the inside. Patty Rodenbeck, 82 in the middle. And it looked like Pietro Fittipaldi in that yellow and black number 1 comes down the hill right there. No room.
Yeah, I just don't think he knew that they were too wide underneath him. And as Denny said, you don't want to be up in that third lane unless you have to be. He needed to stay up there or back off and let those guys have the entrance to the corner.
Well, we're wondering if Jeff Burton has anything for Tony Stewart, Bob.
Simple answer, yes. We didn't get to interview him, Mike, during the lightning round during that lap 50 break, but I did get a chance to talk to Jeff Burton, and here's what he told me. He says, you know what, Tony Stewart's better in the center, but I'm better coming up off the corner. We're going to make some changes, he told me. So I talked to his crew chief, Matt McCall, who's on the left side of your screen. I said, what changes did you make? He said, we're going to let the driver do all the work. So no changes on that race car. They think they have a dynamite car, can catch Tony Stewart and pass him in the final laps of the Denny Hamlin Short Track Showdown.
I tell you what, that guy right there on the left-hand side, Matt McCall, he's a heck of a racer himself.
He won a lot of races, didn't he?
Absolutely. He raced a lot with me at Hickory Motor Speedway, and yeah, heck of a talent there.
13 laps to go, so it'll be 11 or so when we get the green. Only 2 leaders. Tony Stewart has led most of the way now. Greg Edwards, the pole sitter, out front from the start. Stewart worked his way up and underneath after several laps. Jeff Burton has not led, but has been right in position to challenge. And watch that number 91. Ben Rhodes, you wouldn't know from looking at the race he's driven that young fella is but 15 years old, driving for Marcus Ambrose.
We talked about it earlier, Denny. It's amazing how much young talent that we have in our sport right now, and so many of them are right here running the K&N race earlier as well as this race.
Yeah, the up-and-coming talent here, it seems like we kind of went through a lull about 4 or 5 years where we had a big rookie crop coming in NASCAR, and then now it seems like there's a resurgence of that. There's a lot of young kids that are starting to turn that age where they're being able to be eligible for these races, and now you're getting to see them show what they got.
Getting ready to go green. 11 laps to go when they come back, and Stewart's got a big start on Burton, who doesn't get going.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for Jeff to bounce back from that right there. He's got to get some good track position.
How about Joey Logano up to second?
How did that happen?
Boy, Joey really took advantage of the mix-up caused by Jeff Burton's poor start.
Boy, sliced bread to second place. Stewart, Logano, Edwards, the front 3. And Burton back to 5th behind Butler. Bob?
And Jeff Burton broke a transmission in practice earlier today, so they had to borrow one, and Matt McCall just told me he's really not used to the gearing in that transmission. He might have just missed a shift on that restart as Kyle Busch slows down.
Don't know what's wrong with Kyle Busch, but it took him way up the racetrack, out of harm's way, and he slides to the back of the field.
Doesn't look like Joey Logano is able to keep the pace of Tony Stewart like Jeff Burton was earlier, but Jeff now is mired back in the 5th spot as we watch Kyle Busch make his way back to the pits.
Yeah, you slid back a few positions, and it's just worth a couple of tenths of track of lap time per lap. So Jeff's got he really needs another caution here. He'll start on the inside line if he does, and that should give him another shot.
Car up toward the wall, sparks fly, turn 2, but everybody straightens out. And Logano's under fire for second place. Edwards coming back.
Greg gets underneath him. He's got a nose up beside him.
Boy, if Edwards can come off the corner even with Logano, he's got a good shot to take second place down in turn 3, and he's done it.
I tell you someone we really got to give a shout out to is Jason White. He had 1 lap of practice. I know that because he got into my mess in the first lap. He's had no practice. He started 35th. He's already up to 11th. So great run by that team.
You wonder where he may have been able to run had he got a better starting spot as well as a little bit of practice.
Edwards got a little loose right there, almost got into Logano, gives him some room. And there is Jason White, right side of your screen, trying to break his way into the top 10 against Campbell.
Yeah, Campbell has that 10th spot. Jason's fighting for it. Clint King right in front of him, the 07, is a 9th place car.
5 laps to go. And Edwards secures second. Logano now third.
Brandon Butler now has made his way up into the 4th spot right behind Logano. And there's Jeff Burton back in 5th.
And Ben Rhodes going to have a night to be proud of. He's right there with the leaders, albeit in 6th place. Bob?
Kyle Busch's car not right all night long, but basically he went into turn number 3 and the brake pedal went right to the floor. Kyle Busch done for the night, 2-time winner of the Denny Hamlin Short Track Showdown.
It's not been a good night for previous winners of this race.
No, about the only one who's having any luck is C.E. Falk III, who's running in 8th place right now. Winner 2 years ago.
Good battle for second, but nobody has anything for Tony Stewart right now.
Oh, he's out in front by 1.6. Jason White wants more. He's 10th. Going up against the 07 of Clint King for 9th place.
I know they had to change the radiator, the front bumper. Pretty much the whole front of this car was demolished after practice, so he's really made a heck of a charge here.
Well, Joey Logano's he's really going to have to work to hold on to second place for 1.5 more laps. Not sure he can do it.
Brandon Butler gets underneath him as they get down to turn number 1.
No contact, good clean racing. Logano slips off 2 and loses second. Tony Stewart off turn 4 is going to win the Denny Hamlin Short Track Showdown. Second to Edwards, and third to Brandon Butler. Jeff Burton 4th, and Joey Logano 5th. Ben Rhodes in 6th. Wallace, Falk, White, and Campbell the top 10.
Good mix of guys right there in the top 5. You got 3 of the Cup guys. You got 2 of the local short track superstars. So it's a great run by Greg Edwards. I used to race against him at Langley, so great run for them. But congratulations to Tony. He showed up here and whipped them today.
Well, and we're all very proud of what you've done to put this event together, Denny, and to raise over $1 million over the last 4 years, not counting tonight, for some really great causes, principally cystic fibrosis. Great job.
Yeah, very proud of everything that everyone's done, and obviously Speed Channel for helping us out, MRN for helping put this call in the race as well. So this is what it's all about, helping to grow this event, and great to see that we put on a great show tonight. I hope the fans enjoyed it.
Bob?
Tony Stewart told us before this one, if he didn't perform, this guy Lee McCall was going to fire him. Well, you don't have to fire him now. You're going to victory lane.
No, Tony's a great driver. He can drive anything, and I'm so glad that he drove for us. And we've had a great car. Matt DiBetto tested for us, did a great job, and thanks to him and thanks to JD Bowrider for coming aboard. And it's fun, and Tony and I have kept in touch over the years, and he promised me he'd do the best he could, and he might need a little coach, and I didn't believe that.
Go celebrate.
Thank you.
Lee McCall, a veteran of the NASCAR wars, Mike.
Absolutely. And they were flawless. They won the second practice. Stewart went to the lead and never looked back. Led the last 44 laps. Hermie?
Just catching up with Greg Edwards. Hadn't seen you in a long time. Great day for you guys. I know you wanted to win, but qualify up front. Finish second. Tell us about your night.
Man, we had an awesome night. I got to thank Randy Sear Sand and Gravel for letting me drive this Ford. This thing was a rocket ship down the straightaways, and we were turning real good. It's just Tony was getting through too a little better than me, and he showed me something. I went ahead and let him get in front of me, and he showed me how to widen my entrance up a little bit more and just wait on it and try to get off the bottom. I did that, but it's hard to beat the laps these guys got around here, him and Jeff Burton. My gosh, to get beat by Tony Stewart, how bad is that? We had a great time. I got to thank Denny Hamlin for putting on this race. It's a fun time to be able to come here. I love this racetrack. It's a blast to drive. Driving against Tony and right there Logano at the end. It's nothing but fun. I enjoyed myself.
That right there is what this race is all about, guys.
Absolutely. Denny, we'll let you go down and celebrate with Tony and with all the rest of the fellas. Great job tonight. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
More to come from Richmond right after this. Now here's the deal. You can buy 2 front stretch tickets to the Sprint All-Star Race and see Blake Shelton in concert, all for just $99. And you'll see the entire race on the planet's largest HD TV. The Sprint All-Star Race, Saturday, May 19th. Call 1-800-455-FANS. That is a screaming deal.
And much like this last race we just saw, no points on the line there.
Right.
Just $1 million and bragging rights.
Bob?
Tony Stewart climbs out victorious in victory lane at the Denny Hamlin Short Track Showdown. It's been about 12 years since he actually won an asphalt late model show, but Tony Stewart celebrating with the crew and so forth. You said before that Lee McCall would have to fire you if you didn't perform. Well, you get a hug from Lee. You performed well tonight. That thing was a rocket ship.
Yeah, it was fast. This JD Byrider off Steeple Mobile and Chevy was just really, really quick today, and we were a little bit loose the first segment back to the gas, and Lee made a great adjustment there, and it would rotate the corner so good, and we just get back in the gas so early with this thing. So just tried to take care of the tires and make sure that I wasn't abusing them to where we had something at the end. But I was worried about Burton. I mean, he was really strong, and he's done this a long time. I was afraid he had saved a lot more than I had, so I was worried about him on that last restart.
You've won so many races from dirt to asphalt and all over the place, but what does this win mean to you here tonight against your colleagues and also some of the best in late model stock car world in the Southeast?
Yeah, I mean, I've taken a lot of pride in having fun, racing a lot of different cars, and this is only the second time I've ever won in a pavement late model. So, Randy Sweet up in Michigan still gave me my first win in a pavement late model. But, this is fun to do this, especially here at Richmond. It's been a while since I've been in victory lane here.
2 weeks in a row, he's driven to victory lane, first in a sprint car last week in Nebraska, today here at Richmond in an asphalt late model, Hermie.
Well, Jeff Burton, it looked like we were going to shape up between you and Tony Stewart to really get down and dirty on this racetrack. Had a couple issues on some restarts. Tell us what happened.
Yeah, that was disappointing because I thought Tony and I probably race side by side for the win there. I had trouble all day long going from second to third, and we even today in practice I missed a shift one time leaving pit road, and I just kept missing shifts. I just missed a shift again, and anyway, I own the car, so car owners got to go to work and get some better parts, but. I want to thank Caterpillar and everybody for being involved in this thing. Jay Hedgecock built my car for me and did a nice job. And all my quarter midget guys pitched in, and Matt McCall came over and helped us, and Brandon McReynolds. I had more former drivers on this car than I was afraid they were going to kill me last night so they could drive it. But we had fun.
Well, talk about you got some more testing coming up for this car as well.
Yeah, the deal was that if I ran this race, then Harrison gets it. So Harrison will get to, he'll start running it here in a couple weeks. We'll get his seat put in it and put some pedals about that much longer than mine, and see if he can change gears better than his dad.
Well, here we go. We got a lot of fun down here in the Burton pit. Great run tonight for these guys. Came up a little bit short.
Hermie, turn around. There's Digger. Makes an appearance on the back of Harrison's uniform there. How about that? Tony Stewart, the winner. Greg Edwards, Brandon Butler, Burton, fourth. Joey Logano, fifth. Ben Rhodes, sixth. And those first 6 cars were all right together.
And Jason White does a nice job starting from the very back, as Denny said, with no practice, and gets a top 10 finish.
Derek Campbell 10th, Falk and Wallace also in the top 10. Clint King, Ronnie Bassett, Justin Johnson, Monteith Braden, and Chase Elliott. Pena, Howard, Self, and Turlington, the top 20. Here is the rest of the field. 29 cars running on the lead lap at the conclusion.
Great event, though. Just a super event. Everyone had a good time, and a lot of money was raised, hopefully,
for great causes. Bob?
Brandon Butler finishes third. We're joking around. So much for these young kids. The old guys really showed them tonight.
Yeah, we were just joking around. The combined age of the top 4 were kind of old, I guess, in racing terms. But what an honor to race with these guys. Got to thank Denny Hamlin for putting this event on, and it's so much fun. I didn't get to race with Tony a lot because he was a little faster than us, but we raced a lot with Jeff and Joey Logano. That was fun. And come home third. Got to thank Tire X, National Guard, Jay Hedgecock, all the guys, my family, my wife, my son, my dad, mom, everybody, my brother, sister, everybody. So it's just a great event for us. We got wrecked out on the first lap here last year in total to race cars. So, man, we made it through lap 1. I was like, thank goodness. So it's been a good night for us.
I want to know from your perspective, a Southern late model stock car guy, how much does this race mean to you?
An awful lot, Bob. I mean, it's you know, it's a dream to race with these guys. I've been fortunate enough to run with a lot of them before, and I've run some bush races out here, but it's just always good to get out here. And, you know, I guess I hadn't been racing a whole lot the last few years, so people start to wonder if you can still do it, but I feel like we can still do it with the best of them, so, and I think we did tonight.
Brandon Butler can sure still get the job done, Hermie.
Well, Joey Logano, you slowly worked your way towards the front, but that last restart, where did you come from?
Oh, I just got lucky. The 31 missed the gear, couldn't get into gear. I don't know what it was. He said something was wrong with his transmission, so I was in the right lane. I just kept on going. So every restart is where we made our speed up. We weren't that fast. We were fifth place car. We finished fifth, is the way I look at it. You know, we tried to swing through fences there in our halfway break or three-quarter break. You know, it just got too tight. And I got up to second. I was like, yeah, heck yeah, I got something for him here. And then Tony's car is just so fast. It turned so good at the front that I couldn't keep up. And then I was just trying to hold everyone off. And I screwed up off of two. I get tight, and I just hit the gas and hustle and try to throw the back around. And I threw it around too much off of two, and I had to catch it, and I lost another spot. So that part was a little frustrating, but it was fun to get up there. And these cars are so much fun to drive. You know, you get to just slide them around, beat and bang, no points. You know, and these fiberglass bodies, it's not like you knock fenders in and get flat tires. So thank Jamie Cottle and all the guys for you know, giving me a great piece and having fun tonight.
And you did a little work in the broadcast booth early tonight. I thought you did good, but me being from Emporia, I couldn't understand anything you were saying.
Yeah, I can't understand anything you're saying half the time. So, I'm not from Virginia, or wherever. Were you West Virginia or regular Virginia?
Oh, no, not West Virginia. I'm from Virginia.
You don't claim that part. Okay. Can I send it back to the booth?
Please do.
I'm going to send it back to the booth with Mike Joy.
Thanks, Joey. Good job.
He's getting the hang of this, isn't he?
Yeah, I think so. Check out the website, DennyHamlinFoundation.org, or call the number at the bottom of the screen to help the Denny Hamlin Foundation in their quest to find a cure for cystic fibrosis and to benefit the other great charities that we've mentioned. Phil, it's neat that the drivers take this event so seriously. It's kind of like the asphalt version of the Prelude to the Dream, Tony Stewart's charity race at Eldora, Ohio every year for dirt late models. We have this on pavement, you know, and have it at a cup track. And great racers from across America that don't always get the TV time have a chance to battle the fellows who are their heroes. And who knows, maybe catch a little notice along the way.
And Tony Stewart, they don't lay it up either. They come here loaded for bear to do all they can do because they're competitive. Jeff Burton, we heard how disappointed he was that he had a transmission issue and blamed the owner, which is him. And Joey Logano, how much fun he had. So when you got people like Greg Edwards and Brandon Butler finishing second and third ahead of Jeff Burton and Joey Logano, it's a feather in their cap.
Yep, that's spectacular. Great result for everybody and a great night of racing at Richmond. Nationwide and Sprint Cup coming up tomorrow. We have, 7 hours of exclusive coverage live from the track here tomorrow as it's Fast Friday on Speed.
I'm going to tell you one of the finish for the K&N race earlier tonight was one of the best races I've ever seen this year.
A lot of stars and a lot of hopefuls all strapped in for the Denny Hamlin Short Track Showdown. When the dust settled, it was Tony Stewart celebrating in victory lane, and we raised a lot of money for charity. Hope you enjoyed it. Good night, everybody.